Here at 190 Vision, you will hear many different terms that you might not be familiar with. One of them that we're going to discuss right now is Ascended Master. Who are the Ascended Masters? Why are they called Ascended Masters? Where do they come from?
From across the border.
Across which border?
Any border. They're aliens. You know how some people refer to them.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, that was a good joke. I don't know.
Well, hopefully our viewers understand the joke.
Okay. All right, so let's get into it. So then, who is an Ascended Master? From your understanding.
From my understanding, it is a person who has, just like in the martial arts, they have mastered, they become the master, but it's over life in general, over every aspect of life, and they've balanced all their karma. So they're at a point where they just ascend. They go to a higher level to help the rest of us.
Okay, so we don't get technical like scientists or, medical people or attorneys. When you say that they master
life.
Right. How about if you get a little bit more specific?
Okay.
Please.
Well,
like what aspects of life? And what do you mean by life?
Life, emotions, which is a big one for me. They keep their emotions in complete balance at all times. Nothing moves them one way or the other. They just stay in the middle.
The middle way.
The middle way.
Buddhists would say.
Yes.
Or balanced, as we say.
Yes. With their thinking, their thoughts are always positive, and they're always co-creating, and it's always out of love.
They're always pure.
Yes, always pure thought. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so mental, emotional.
Wait, your thinking is not pure? Well, what do you... What kind of thinking are you doing there,
I have human thinking here. I have lots of thoughts that go through my head. Working on that non-judgment thing, trying to get rid of that, and trying to stay balanced with my emotions and my thoughts together so I can create positive things all the time.
Oh, you're always smiling. I always thought that it was always positive.
There are mothers who say when babies smile, it's because they're gassy. I don't know.
How does that apply to you?
Maybe it never went away from me. I don't know. See, I'm trying to stay balanced. We're laughing. This is good.
It is good.
Let's prove it's back to the balance.
Yeah. Like in the martial arts movie. Remember the guy goes and he beats up the people, the monk, the Buddhist monk, they come and attack him, and he just beat the death out, and then he goes, how do you go? Buddha bless you. When you're laying on the ground. You know that movie?
I don't. We've seen so many martial arts movies. The only one that I recall right now that's coming to my head is the cartoon Mulan. And after they go and they have their fight, the one guy says, Amitabha.
Oh, that's right. That's in there. I remember that now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Getting back on track with Ascended Masters. So they've balanced their thinking and their emotions to the point where they're not pulled one way or the other. And they've learned to co-create with the universe, God, whatever you want to call it.
Also, well, the human qualities, I guess, would be a good way of describing what they've mastered.
Some people call it ego.
Okay. Now, ego, sometimes people think ego is a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not necessarily accurate. It could be a good thing if it's used for constructive purposes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yes, mastering the ego is a very important one. Because how many individuals believe, for example, especially individuals that are striving to grow spiritually. And I bring this up because we've seen videos on YouTube about people teaching people, for example, how to be grounded, how to, clear their chakras,
Mm-hmm.
and all these other things, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
We've even seen people teach people how to receive messages using like tarot cards and pendulums and
astrology,
all
kinds of mediums. Yes.
And as they do that, we're looking and saying, well, how do we even know if that person is balanced enough
right
to receive the message? Because if you don't have if you're not balanced yourself, how could you be receiving the proper message? All of us get guidance, but the question is, are we in the proper state? Are we at the right frequency to receive it accurately, without bias? And that's what the Ascended Masters have mastered. There's no bias in what they do, in anything that they do, in anything that they say. It's strictly, like you said, unconditional love.
Right.
So that's one aspect, I would say. So they've mastered that, and that's what makes them an Ascended Master?
Well, they've ascended, period. Like Jesus. He lived, he died, he came back from the dead, and then he ascended into heaven and had many witnesses of that.
He came back from the dead.
But he rose from the dead.
Now, if you weren't talking about Jesus, people would think you've lost your mind.
That's
So,
right.
if we're talking about somebody else that's not Jesus, and you say the person actually, I guess, rose from the dead and then ascended to heaven, what do you think people will say?
That's impossible. Only Jesus could do it. Because Jesus is the only Son of God.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm
Are you
not.
acting sarcastic?
No, I'm just getting the point across.
Oh, okay. Well, you shouldn't be sarcastic, remember?
I'm not being sarcastic, but because I grew up believing that Jesus is the only Son of God. No one can do anything like what Jesus did.
Even though Jesus said in the Bible,
That everything I can do, you can do, and more. My favorite part, and more.
sounds like a TV commercial.
Get on your ascension path right now. Join us at One Night Division.
Yeah, you can get more ascension stuff. Anyway, so here we are. Jesus said that, and yet still the church tells you that if you believe you can do what Jesus did, there's something wrong with you.
Right.
All right? Which then they're pretty much saying you could never become an Ascended Master.
Right.
Now, so let's go through this. An Ascended Master, normally someone that is born, regular human being.
Regular human.
Normally,
yes.
right?
They
We
go
have
through the whole
exceptions.
human process.
We have exceptions,
Yes.
but normal, regular human being, they grow up and they accomplish their purpose, whatever that purpose is, in the lifetime that they're in. While they're doing that, they've balanced, like you said, their karma. They've mastered their emotions, right? So they don't judge. They don't allow things to move them in a negative way. Everything they do is with unconditional love.
Yes.
And then in some cases they die. And then they ascend to heaven.
Yes.
And when they get there, we go in front of the karmic board, and the karmic board says, you don't have any karma. So it's up to you what you want to do. Do you want to stay up here or you want to go back down? And in their case, many of them say what?
I'm staying.
Right.
I don't want to go through that again.
No, I don't think they say.
I'm messing around.
Oh, okay. See, but you don't want to send the wrong message to our individuals.
Very true. They normally stay so that they can help the rest of us, their
Exactly.
brothers and sisters here on earth.
But they don't gladly stay. They stay because they know it's going to help us. It's not like they don't want to come back.
Right.
And then we do have the Ascended Masters that do choose to return, to re-embody. And we'll get into it in a moment. So, what does that tell us? That any one of us can go through that process and become an Ascended Master. Now that might be shocking to some individuals, but that's the reason why we're here on earth. You know, we've been recycled many times. Whether or not we believe in re-embodiment, it doesn't matter. But I call it keep getting recycled, because we go through the dying process. We get up there in front of the karmic board, and we're not judges in how they put it in the church, right?
Right.
Where okay, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, that's not how it goes. Okay, what do you learn from this experience? What do you learn from that experience? And then you're given the choice. Do you want to return now, or you want to return later? How much time do you require? And it's up to you.
Or what training do you want to go through before you return?
Exactly. And what do you want to accomplish when you go back the next time?
Right.
So all that comes up, and then you re-embody. So in that case, you're not a Ascended Master, because you re-embody. You come back again to go through whatever it is you need to learn before, again, you die again and go back. And then you go through a process until finally they say, oh, you can choose if you want to go back or not. You decide at this point, because you've balanced enough karma. And if you choose not to come back, you're an Ascended Master. So it's not just for the prophets, it's for all of us that are here. Our purpose is to come to earth, learn, balance our karma with individuals and whatever else we need to do with concerning certain situations. Then we die, we go back to heaven, because that's where we all go. We don't go to somewhere else, even though we're told that that happens. That's not what happens. We go back to heaven. There are different levels to heaven. So that's where the difference comes in. And then when we get to the point where enough karma is balanced, we're given the choice to either stay or return. So I've explained the process itself.
Yes.
And once you choose to stay, you're an ascended master. Now, you're either an ascended master, as in gender, right?
Okay.
So master as in you're
male.
A male. And if you're a female, you're referred to as what?
A lady ascended master.
That's correct. Lady ascended master, justice, right? Lady ascended master,
Venus. Okay,
Right.
Kuan Yin.
Okay. So let's go to the next level. But what really makes someone an ascended master? What makes someone an ascended master is the fact that they embody the Christ. See, it's not just doing all those things. Once you start accomplishing all those things, where you stay balanced, and it's all immaculate conception, immaculate concept, right? Immaculate conception, immaculate concept.
Immaculate concept.
As in unconditional love. You're getting closer and closer to your higher self, or the Christ within, right? When that happens, you embody it. It's called embodying the Christ. What do you know about that?
I know that many individuals have done it, Jesus being the most widely known one, you know, and that happened when he was baptized in the River Jordan. That's when he embodied the Christ.
How do you know?
Because it's written in the Bible.
Well, it's not written in the Bible that he embodied the Christ.
Well, no, but it was after that they started calling him Jesus the Christ.
You know, a lot of people don't know that. That a lot of people don't check the Bible for that. They don't realize that until that point where John the Baptist baptized Jesus in the River Jordan, that until that point, Jesus was never referred to as Jesus Christ. He was always the son of the carpenter, or what?
Or just Jesus.
From Galilee.
Right.
Right? That's how they referred to him. They never referred to him as Jesus Christ. After the baptism, now remember what happened at baptism? They said they wrote the sky opened. And then there was a voice that came from heaven. And the voice said, what? Behold my only son. Something to that effect. I give you my only son. Something like that.
I'm glad you know that.
And that was God talking about his only son, which was Christ. And that's when, if you look in the Bible, feel free to go check, after that, all of a sudden, Jesus is referred to as Jesus Christ. That's when that name became popular with him. So it tells you that even back then, people were aware of when someone embodied the Christ. Very important to know when.
Yes.
Right? So now, once you've embodied the Christ, now you've become a Christed one. That's when you become now one with the universe. And that's when you can really do what people consider miracles, like healing and raising the dead and everything else. See, like us, we can help people with the healing process. But there are a lot of things that we're unable to do. For example, as much as I could believe that I can raise the dead, first of all, I wouldn't try it. Just in case their family members don't want them alive. That's the first thing, right? But it's just not something I'm interested in doing. But I have a feeling that once you become a Christed one, it's just something you just think about, then it happens. That's when you embody the Christ. Now you are an ascended master. Because you're still alive. At that point, you can choose to die only because people are used to people dying.
Right.
But you don't have to die at that point because you're no longer a human being. Once you become a Christed one, you are a spiritual being. You walk in the earth, but you're actually a spiritual being. And that's why we have prophets like Muhammad, Elijah, who have been documented to just ascend without dying, you know, with their whole body. Mother Mary has been told to ascend with her whole body. However, she's a different case because she was not a regular human being.
Right.
A lot of individuals don't know that. You know, that she was actually an angel, an archangel that took on human form to give birth to Jesus. That's why they call it an immaculate conception. It's not because she was a virgin. It's because she was a virgin, yes, because she was not a human being. All right, but she was an angel. So when the time came for her to pass, she just returned back to her angel phase and went back. But know that she could have created karma when she was in human form. She knew that she had that danger.
Mm-hmm.
But she chose to do it anyway, to go through that with us. Now, how about naming some ascended masters? So people could be aware of some. We already mentioned Muhammad, who's the prophet for the Islamic faith.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about Jesus, who's the prophet for the Christians. We talked about who else?
Oh, well, we just talked about Mother Mary.
Mother Mary, okay.
Right. Then you also
What
have...
about Mother Mary? How is she known?
Oh, she's known in the Catholic Church. She's known as the Blessed Virgin Mary.
Okay.
And most other religions, she's just Mary, the Mother of Jesus.
Who else?
There's Buddha, who was originally named Siddhartha, but he's Gautama Buddha. And we have Krishna with the Hindu faith. We have Shiva with the Hindu faith.
So what about Shiva?
Shiva is he's up there with Archangel Michael. They're protectors. And with Shiva, they call him the destroyer. I mean, he comes instantly. I like Shiva a lot. It's a lot of fun to work with Shiva and see him in action. I like Archangel Michael too, but I've had more fun experiences recently with Shiva. Anyway.
Next time we call on Archangel Michael, we'll see if he responds. So there's some
He'll
favoritism going on
respond. There is no favoritism. Archangel Michael's always there protecting me too.
So speaking of favoritism, right, and this is something we should clear up as well. For example, people might wonder, well, if I'm not Catholic, if I'm not a Christian, if I don't believe in Jesus, then should I be calling to Jesus for help or to Archangel Michael for help? Because let's say, for example, I happen to be, let's choose a faith, Buddhist. Well, they don't have Archangel Michael in their faith.
Right.
So now, but we're talking about protection, we're talking about Archangel Michael. Now what?
He'll still protect them.
Oh?
Yes, it doesn't matter to them what religion you choose to follow on earth. That's just an avenue for you to learn more about who you are.
So if I call on Shiva and I'm Catholic, which I am, Shiva won't go, well, you believe in Jesus, so I'm not, go call Jesus because I'm not going to help you.
No, he'll probably be like, oh, you follow my buddy Jesus over there. Come, I'll help you right away.
He'd probably go, Jesus, one of your followers is helping me.
And Jesus will be like, oh, okay, go ahead, Shiva. I'm busy with this one over here.
Oh, by the way, happens to be a Hindu person.
Right.
But that's why it goes back to what you said, that there is no judgment. You know, it's unconditional love. Keep in mind, again, and maybe folks haven't thought about this, but we're talking about heaven. In heaven, there is no religion.
Right.
And that's the key. You know, there's only the presence of God and God himself and the ascended masters that are working on our behalf to help us. There is no Catholic over there and Muslims over there and Buddhists over there. It doesn't exist there. And that's why we talk about the teaching itself, because the teaching is not a religion, it's a spiritual way of life. It's not tied to any religion whatsoever. Some of the other ascended masters that we work with, or that work with us.
El Moria.
El Moria. What can you say about El Moria?
One of his embodiments that he's well known for is that of Abraham. Abraham in the Bible.
Who is the head of or they call him the father of
the Jewish faith.
Right.
And then we have Saint-Germain, and one of his most prominent lifetimes was that of the father of Jesus, Saint Joseph. In the Catholic Church is how he's known. But Saint-Germain, he did many wonderful things during the 17th and 18th centuries, and it's documented all throughout Europe. So.
But where specifically, there's one country where he's known
in France,
most, right?
In Saint-Germain, France. They even have a museum dedicated just to all the things that they recorded about Saint-Germain, people's diaries and what do you call this, artifacts and other things that they found related to Saint-Germain during that time.
Even the biggest soccer team in France.
Oh yes, Paris Saint-Germain.
Paris Saint-Germain, right? It's named after Saint-Germain. On top of that, one of the things to remember about Saint-Germain is that he was known as the individual that never aged.
Yes.
He always looked like he was in his 30s, I think, early 30s, never aged. And he lived for many, many years. People,
Over hundreds of years.
Over hundreds of years, right? He existed, and people wonder, how could he
not age?
How could he not age? Exactly.
He looks the same age, and I have aged, is what one of the ladies wrote in her diary. Yes.
Right. So that's Saint-Germain, and do we have any others that we... Mother Kuan Yin.
Mother Kuan Yin, yes.
Okay.
And...
What did you say about Mother Kuan Yin?
Mother Kuan Yin is basically like the equivalent of the Blessed Virgin Mary in the Catholic faith. She's very high up there as far as individuals who call upon her for healing and for help in different situations.
But what faith is she tied to?
She's with the Buddhist faith.
Right? She's tied... No, she's not with the Buddhist
Well, she's not with the Buddhist. She's tied to the Buddhist faith.
Right? And that's that. So because she's a lady in the Buddhist faith, she's called a...
Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva, exactly. And the men are called Buddhas.
Right.
So we just wanted to clear it up. So we hope that this has helped clarify some things about the Ascended Masters, and we'll go more in depth in that in the first session. But this is just an introduction about the Ascended Masters. We also have Kuthumi, who we...
Yes, Kuthumi, and...
what would you say about Kuthumi?
He was known as, in the Catholic Church, St. Francis of Assisi, who was always shown with animals around him, and he was known for being able to know people's sins before they even spoke to him, things like that.
Talk about Akashic Records.
Yes, indeed.
You have access to those. We're training how to get to that level too. So.
Right, and then there's also Paul the Apostle.
Oh, Hilarion.
Yes.
Right.
Hilarion.
Well, he came to just twice, I think.
Right.
Okay.
But he comes in, so it's good.
All right. All right. So that's it. Thank you, Hun, for this lesson on the Ascended Masters.
Oh, thank you.